Hey, what's up guys, it's Theo from Final Concept. Alright, today I'm going to show you how to create a simple mockup for your picture frames in Adobe Photoshop. That way, all you have to do is just change the image and you can keep saving it over and over and over again. So let's just get started. Welcome to Final Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Alright, as always, I'm using Adobe Photoshop, so I'll go ahead and open it up and I'm going to create a new document. Make sure your width and height is set to something you are comfortable with. In my case, I'm using 2000 by 2000 and the background color is always going to be white for me. So I'll just click on create. Now, as always, I also want to have a gradient in there, so go to the adjustment panel, click on gradients, set it to 1000, that is the highest percentage, change it to radial and go ahead and reverse it. Then I'll just click on OK and reduce the opacity to about 50%, and this is what I have. It's hardly noticeable, but it is there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to the shape tools right here and select the rectangle tool, and I'll create a rectangle like this. The shape doesn't actually matter because we'll be changing it very soon using the move tool. Now you can see that my fill is set to white up here. That is why you are not seeing it. So it's actually a white color on a white color. It makes it a lot easier to, a lot difficult to see. So since this rectangle is a shape, I can always just double click on the thumbnail and change it to whichever color I want. So in this case, I'll just be using a very dark gray. So I think 15, 15, 15 should be fine. And I'll just click on OK. So I'll move this here somewhere at the bottom here, stretch this out, make sure it's covering the entire area. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the control key. So you can see without holding down the control key, anytime I put it over here, we have this resizing icon or cursor. And if I go ahead and hold down the control key, it changes to this white arrow. This is what I want. So I can just click on this point right here and deform it to whatever size I want. But I don't want it to be moving in any degree. You can see the degree right above the cursor on the top right. I want it to move at a specific degree, so either by 0 degrees, 90 degrees, 45, all of that stuff, those specific ones. So I want it to move by 0 degrees. So what I'm going to do is I'm also going to hold down the shift key. So holding down the shift key, I can go ahead and play with it like so. So let me quickly just undo and do it one more time. So resize. Because I was talking, I actually made a mistake and didn't do it the way I was supposed to. So hold down the control key, hold down the shift key, and I'll just click and drag it towards the side like so. So it's moving horizontally, and I'll do the exact same thing but in the opposite direction, somewhere around here. I should probably have made some form of alignment so that I can align this perfectly, but hey, let me just leave you guys with it. Alright, so I'm going to create another rectangle. Actually, you don't have to do this. The background doesn't really matter. You can just make it a solid white color. It doesn't really matter. So I just want to have some form of livelihood to the image. So I'll have it in like so. I think something like this should be just fine. And I'm also going to reduce the opacity. Let me stretch this out a little bit. So reduce the opacity by, let's say 20. So I have it in here like so. Something like this looks cool for me. So what I'm going to do is create the mockup, and to do that I'll be using a rectangle. So I should actually have the actual size in there. So you know what, let's go ahead and click on file, click on new. This time around we are selecting an A4 document, so you can go into print and select A4 in there if you don't have it in your recent tab. So I'll just click on create and I have an A4 like so. This is awesome. So I'll click on the lock icon right here so that I can make it a layer and be able to move it freely. So yeah, now I can move it freely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have the rectangle covering that entire area. It's still set to a white color. Let me make it black from here. So I'll draw the rectangle like so. use the move tool to fill up the entire area like so, and just go ahead and delete that. So now this is what I have. But before I move it onto my original work, which is here, I have to make it a smart object. So right click and go to convert to smart object. Now I can use the move tool, click and drag over here and just release it in here like so. Now you can see it's very huge, so I'm going ahead to reduce the size. Yeah, I think something like this loose. Yeah, something like this loose. Okay. So basically this is it for me. So yeah, once I have this, I'm just going to create another rectangle, and I'll tell you why I'm creating this rectangle. This is just to create a border around that image. So click and drag to about the same size as what I had previously. You know what, let me make this a red color so that you can tell the difference. So this is going to be called border or borders. This is the smart object. So insert picture here. That's where I'm going to be inserting my pictures. These are all backgrounds, so I just group them up using Control G for good. So something like this. Now I'm going to have the borders behind insert picture here, so I'll click and drag and drop it at the back. Now using the Shift and Alt key, I'm going to resize this. So if I just go ahead and resize, this is what I get. If I hold down the Shift key, it's going to resize from one angle, that is pivoting from here. If I click from here, it's going to be pivoting from here. I don't want that. I want to actually pivot from the center. So I'll hold down the Shift and the Alt key both at the same time, and I have something like this. This is looking awesome for me. So yeah, like I said, I actually want a black color, so I'll change the borders color to black. The insert picture here doesn't really matter because the image is always going to be, yeah, the image is going to be there, so it's not actually going to be black. You know what, let's just change it so that we don't confuse ourselves. Let's change it to white, and I'll go ahead and close this up and save it. So when I save it, it should automatically change from here. So basically this is what I want to do. But before that, you see we have just the image on top like so. This is not what we want. We want to have some form of drop shadow in here so that it appears as if this is a natural frame instead of having just the image on a blackboard like so. So what I'm going to do is I'll hold down the Control key whilst hovering over the thumbnail, which is over here, the thumbnail of insert picture here. I'll hold down the Control key and you should get this nice looking rectangular selection around your cursor. So when you click on it, it's going to create a selection like so. Then I'll go back into borders and I'll click on add layer mask, which is down here, third icon from the left. Now you can see that it vanishes. That is because the selection is now over here. We want it to be outside where we created that selection. So with the layer mask selected, not the image, with the layer mask selected, hold down the Control key and press I for inverting. So it's going to make the black portions white and the white portions black. So now we have our image in there. If I go ahead and remove this, you can see that there's basically nothing in there. So to create our shadow, I'll make sure that I've selected the borders layer, go into FX, click on drop shadow, and you can see that we already have a nice drop shadow in here like so. Now anytime I go ahead and play with this, you'll be seeing it in the distance and the angle over here. What I want to do is I'm just going to set the angle to anything reasonable like 90 degrees, and the distance, of course, I'm not going to be using that much distance. The size, I'm also going to reduce it by a lot, so about 10 should be okay, and probably the distance somewhere around 10 should also be okay. Then the opacity about 30 should be just fine, and I'll just click on OK. So this is what I have. Now if you have any images you want to use, you can just put it in here and it's going to reflect on your actual work for you. Yeah, I'm sorry about this. I actually want to have this insert picture here at the back of the borders so that the drop shadow can show. Now you can see that we don't see that drop shadow anytime I bring the rectangle back up, you can see. So what I'll do is I'll have it rather beneath it so that the drop shadow is going to be on top. Now this is what I want. So let me just go ahead and grab a couple of images I took some days back, weeks, I don't remember. Let's go with John and Jackie, because there were some amazing pictures from that wedding day. Alright, so let's just select any of these, open it in Photoshop. I shouldn't actually just drop it. Let's go back here. Let me close this up. So what I have here is insert picture here. I'm going to double click on it to open up that smart object, and I'm actually going to drop my image in here like so, then just resize to make it fill out the entire screen. And once I do that and go ahead and save, file, save. Once it is done saving, if I move back here, it should fill up the screen like so. So once I have this, I can just Control Shift S and save it as whatever image I want. So basically that's it. You can pretty much change it to whatever image you want. There's another image of some nice looking girl, so I'll paste that also in here like so. She's super shy, so I'll go ahead and close this up and make sure it is saved, and it should automatically show up also here. And I can also change this to whatever I want. So basically that's it. I would actually select the ellipse tool, and let me show you why I do that. And I'll create a circle or an oval like so. Right click and make it a rasterized layer, and have it beneath everything else, so the image and the borders. Then I'll go into filter, go into blur, and I'll click on Gaussian blur, and I'll just blur it up by about 20 so that we have some form of shadow in here. You can also just make it bigger or smaller. I think something like this should be just fine. So if you have something like this, you can always go ahead and change your images. So basically that's it. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like to watch more of our videos, hit that subscribe button, and as always, don't forget to share with your family and friends. This is Theo from Concept, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.